Let's go!
You are now watching 14ASports on 15MOFE.com.
Oh, welcome back into the 14ASports radio show. All right, so right now we're going to get into our...
We got to get the drops back for when we...
yeah, right?
The blow up.
Yeah, we're not on the sound effect game tonight.
Yeah, we need one of those. All right. All right, so we're going to have our mega in-depth NBA preview right now because we're all just monster NBA analysts here.
Absolutely.
But what we did is we broke it down. We're going to have 18. Well, me and Nipsey broke it down.
Molly got about halfway through the East.
Molly got a couple people in there. But what we did was we picked 8 teams from the
I was watching
East
a baseball
and the West. Well, that's very important.
Your boy
Keep
Victorino's
me
up.
Keep me updated.
Your boy Victorino's up
Keep
with
me
the
updated.
bases loaded. 2 out.
The flying
All
Hawaiian.
right, so basically here, I'm gonna say that Miami is gonna take the number 1 seed here in the East. I don't think there's any debate about that.
Oh, well, Nipsey has a debate.
Yeah, no, I like Chicago,
Oh yeah,
actually.
Sorry, the microphone's in the way. Go for it.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think we talked about it a little before, but, Chicago just seems D Rose back, and that team just is relentless, night in and night out. I see Miami kind of cruising a little more this year, the third on a back-to-back-to-back. I mean, making the finals 3 years in a row. I mean, that's a lot of games, and
Yeah.
LeBron and Wade and Bosh play a lot of minutes.
I don't think there's any problem with LeBron on that end at all. I think LeBron is
guy's a man
a
child.
physical specimen. I loved he was riding his bike to work. That was a great little. And Victorino with a base hit,
That's
2-run
what I'm talking
single.
about. It's all for you,
2-run
Shane.
single, play at the plate, safe.
At the
That place is
next
probably going
segment, I will be
crazy right
wearing
now.
the jersey backwards so
Bo-
that Victorino's
Boston's
on my
rocking and
chest.
rolling right here.
Victorino knows the deal. He knows the deal. But all right, it's NBA time. Listen.
Oh wait, I'm sorry. It's 3-0.
Oh
wow.
Hey
Wow.
now.
I missed the hit.
I think LeBron can carry Miami all by himself to a 1 seed.
Yeah, no, I mean,
How about this? I think. How good is Greg Oden going to be? I think Greg Oden could be irrelevant.
well, I think in key matchups during the end of the year, I think he's more of a playoff guy. When they got to play Indiana, I think that's why they
he'll
got
be there.
Indiana and Chicago.
I don't think he'll
to
be
match
there.
up with that big versus Roy
I think he's
Hibbert.
going to fold up like a FedEx box at like the 15th game of the season.
They're going to give him time, let him get back ready, and
Play at the
they'll
plate.
play him 5 minutes, they'll play him 4 minutes, they'll play him 8 minutes until they really need him in the playoffs, I think, and then they'll try to bust him out.
And don't get me wrong. Listen, I love the comeback. I think America loves the comeback story.
Oh,
you
yeah,
you want to
you
see
gotta.
Greg Oden do well, but the track record is there. There isn't that 1 season that you can hang your hat on. You know,
He went to Germany, a little Kobe style action, had a little micro fracture.
Listen, I hope it works out for
blood
Greg
spinning.
Oden. Like how cool would that be if he won an NBA championship?
I know.
And
Well-
he's on a great team to do it.
And the crazy part, he's like 65 years old too. When he was 18, he looked older than my grandfather. He was the oldest looking man I've ever seen for being 18
He
years
does
old.
those Uncle Drew commercials, right? That's him, no?
Yeah, no, that's him. He's not
No makeup
no
on.
makeup, no nothing.
Woo! And the Nets look like they just pulled it out to 1, or
mean,
maybe tied the game on a Jason Terry.
Victorino just missed another grand slam by about a foot and a half.
Dude, I love Shane. I mean,
I think the biggest thing with LeBron, though, and
Inning over. 3-0, Boston.
all right.
Big Victorino pop.
All right, let's keep it NBA here.
I think,
we
I'm
appreciate,
keeping
we
it
appreciate the update.
He just said update me.
Only Victorino.
I think LeBron is probably the best low post scorer in the game right now
Yeah, without
on
a
the
doubt.
offensive end. And I mean, whenever Miami needs to, he can go down there in that post and basically take anybody to town. Or if they want to put a bigger guy on him, he'll take him off the dribble.
Yeah, the funny thing is, if LeBron took every shot, every possession, every game, he could potentially have like 150 points a game. But that's just, he can't do that. You know?
I mean, obviously.
Unwritten rules.
But they got enough shooters around
They should
him.
do
They can
that
spread
one
the
game
floor.
against like Charlotte. They should just let him take all the shots and
See if he
what,
can
and
break
see
the
what
100
happens.
mark.
Like
And see what
Kobe did that
happens.
one time,
Yeah.
trying to get to
The
100
80
points.
points.
Yeah. Just see what happens.
Well, I think Miami, they live and die with how good is Dwayne Wade. And early on they said, he looked explosive in the preseason. He got some knee therapy or whatever he got. But over the grind, over the course of the year. Remember this year too. Last year they had the lockout shortened year. They didn't start till Christmas.
Sure.
So now you're adding another couple months to the season.
That was 2 years ago.
More bad news for Greg Oden.
That was 2 years ago, the lockout.
Was it?
Yeah, last year was a full season.
I'm way off. All right.
They won the lockout year, and then they won the
Oh, yeah,
postseason.
that's right. It was. Yeah, you're right. Whatever.
Because people were knocking them at first because of the
Again,
lockout. shortened
NBA
year and-
experts.
I like the lockout. I'm a big lockout guy.
Oh,
I
that
would
was
love
great.
the
I'm
lockout.
like, yeah, okay, yeah.
I sometimes wish we got locked out.
Oh, we need to get paid.
All right.
All right, yeah. So let's keep moving it down the east. I go with Nipsey goes with Miami at 2. He's got the 1,
you
2
got
at Chicago.
Brooklyn at
I got
2.
Brooklyn at number 2. Now let me tell you, I originally thought that this experiment was going to work out. Like I said, we get to it, when the predictor was talking about it, but one ball out there for all these superstars. You got to see how it's going to mesh, but I do think that it's going to work over time. This team right now reminds me a lot of that Boston team when they all came together.
Yeah.
Rondo, and then you had the big three there. It reminds me a lot of that team, and not just because Pierce and Garnett are there.
Well, no,
but,
I mean, I think
they got the components in the bench to do it.
the difference piece with this, I mean, and like you said, similarly back to Boston, it makes total sense of how they fit together that starting five.
Right.
I mean, you got Deron Williams as a distributor, Joe Johnson as a shooter, KG on the outside shooting those 18-footers, Brook Lopez down low, and Pierce basically being your clutch guy that can create when needed to.
And Pierce can still play D, too.
Yeah,
Let's not
no,
get that
and I mean,
twisted.
and I think that's the biggest move was Garnett coming over for that attitude and defensive.
Oh, man.
Defensive.
I do not want to
Minded.
meet Garnett,
Brook-
anywhere.
He needs to
That's
teach.
a bad man.
He
I don't
needs
wanna-
to teach Brook Lopez how to rebound.
Oh,
And
yeah.
be a man. He needs to
He
teach Brook
absolutely
Lopez
does.
how to be a black guy. That's what he needs to do.
Isn't he? He looks half black.
No, but Garnett
a
needs to
nappy
teach
head.
Lopez how to be a black guy.
I mean, the Nets were a much more talented team last year when they lost to the Bulls in the first round of the playoffs.
the
And I
Bulls were
think-
tougher than him.
right.
Yeah,
exactly.
And I think that's what KG and,
that's what
Pierce
I'm
bring.
talking about.
And you saw it in that preseason game when they were playing the Heat, and basically Paul Pierce just gave LeBron a shoulder block and just said, "Hey, how you doing?"
Yeah. That's
the preseason.
they need that tough. And listen, you're playing in New York, you need that toughness. If you're gonna go up, you want to take this division away from the Knicks, you want to take this city away from the Knicks, you got to be tougher.
Now, I think a huge question mark with Brooklyn. You're coming in with a rookie head coach and Jay Kidd. Obviously, a bona fide instant Hall of Famer, tremendous point guard, one of the best we've seen. It's still different. I read someone. Well, he coached his whole life on the floor.
Sure.
It's
But-
different when you're in that seat. It's different when you're in that seat, handling the egos in the locker room, handling the press. Because there's going to be fires throughout the year. How do you deal with them? How do you put them out? I think that's a huge component of being a head coach in any professional sport now, especially in the 24-hour media cycle. I think that's a huge thing. So, you have any concerns about Kidd moving forward as a coach?
You know who's going to be the coach of this team?
Lawrence Frank.
No, Kevin Garnett. He's going to keep that whole shit running. He's going to be like, y'all need to shut the hell up and listen. I think he's going to be the one that keeps that unlocked. And it's actually not a bad idea to have all these superstars for Kidd's first year.
Yeah.
Because essentially, you're going to have guys that could police themselves in the locker room, and then Kidd could learn kind of on the fly, while building a nice little resume for himself there in the first 2 years.
I'll tell you what. You're not a little bit nervous about Deron Williams?
No, not at all. Well,
That's-
listen, Jake Kidd and Deron Williams, they're very good friends. Like, they play golf together a lot, they're very cool.
I think that's the one. If Deron Williams is elite, then I think Brooklyn is there's no stopping them. They're an elite team. But who is Deron Williams going to be? Is he going to be the player he was in the first half of the year? I know he had the ankle injuries, but he's already sitting out with the ankle. In the preseason,
Well,
he was
yeah,
sitting
I
out.
think he's playing now. I mean,
Yeah,
I think
right.
they were holding him out.
But there was still an issue there with the ankle. If he's elite, if he was that Utah Jazz point guard, then I think they're in business. I think they're absolutely one of the class teams of the East. But I think that team lives and dies with Deron Williams, and I agree with you. KG is going to bring a whole new different attitude. I think defensively, especially on the back line, I think they're they said just the defensive rotations. KG makes sure you're in your spot,
Yeah.
and I think that's tremendous. So on that end, I agree with you with the coaching aspect. But if Deron's not happy and he's shown to be himself a little bit moody,
I don't know how you could be unhappy after all the moves
Right,
they made
yeah,
to set this team
yeah.
up. I mean, you got the whole platter. I mean, if you can't make this team run, it's on you. You
Exactly.
can't put it on the
That's it.
GM, the manager.
Right.
I mean, you got to say, hey, I got talent
But-
around me. Never mind only the starting five. They got a deep bench too.
Yeah.
I think that's
Yeah.
their one
Tremendous
yeah,
bench.
but that's the other thing.
Karolinko, Blatch. I mean,
Well, let me get to one thing real quick here, because one thing that we've seen over the course of Deron Williams' career is he needs to be babied, essentially. Sloan, a hard disciplinarian with them. Get Sloan running.
But he played at an elite level with Sloan.
Carlissimo. he got on his ass. He got Carlissimo
Avery
running
first.
out of town.
Yeah, Avery.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, now you bring his buddy in, essentially. The two of them, him and Jay Kidd, are very close. And, I think that this is kind of what he needs. Is it the right thing to do? No, definitely not. But, you want to keep your star player happy, and it looks like that's what they're doing here.
So, do you agree with me that team lives or dies with Deron Williams?
Yeah, I think so.
No.
Really?
No.
If Deron has a subpar year, you still have him as a 2 seed.
Yeah, I do. Because they're going to be a lot tougher, and this bench and these other players. I think that could be the one thing keeping from a 1 seed, actually.
What?
If Deron Williams isn't playing up to his capabilities. I mean, I think this team is too talented. And I know I worried at first a lot, like, oh my God, we're giving away all these draft picks. But you're going for it now.
They had to go for it.
You're going full
you got about
throttle
a 2 or
with
3
it
year
right
window,
now.
maybe, let's say.
The salary cap wise, that was definitely.
But
the
actually,
right
the
move.
one that put me on to KG's leadership call is Bobby D. Our favorite,
Chario.
our own.
He wrote a little Brooklyn Nets preview on 14A.
Well, no, he had the video. I put all that up there. Whatever. Yes, he did.
Yeah.
Sure. What the hell? Why not?
All right.
But,
Audio, video, whatever.
But yeah, I think KG being here is just going to make this team, through the roof.
The thing is, I think, with KG and Pierce, you can only get so many minutes throughout the regular season. That's why I think Indiana and Chicago are still going to be better regular season teams than them. And, I would still take either of those teams versus the Nets in a 7-game series as well.
Yeah.
Indiana got their bench a lot better this year.
No.
Paul George looks like he's on another level. They got Danny Granger back. They got Louis Scola. They got rid of that terrible bench they had last year. I still like them better.
I just realized I agreed with you and I didn't. I just yeah. I'm trying to watch the Nets game in one eye.
I got the baseball game on over here. I'm not focused.
Obviously, one place we disagree is my team, the Knicks.
Yep. Where do you got them? 5?
All right, let's get on to the Knicks. What do you got?
I think everybody's down on them just because they didn't feel like they improved that much more. But this was a number, I want to say 2 seed last year with the roster they had, and I think they improved on that. Even though other teams did get better, like the Bulls and the Pacers, the Knicks didn't really tear it up for them in the regular season last year. I think they lost all 3 games to the Bulls, and maybe split with the Pacers, split with Miami. I think that they have a lot of versatile pieces that they can use to put in different lineups. The only tough thing is that a lot of those pieces don't play well on both ends of the court.
Well, you were just like the Nets last year. You guys needed to be a lot tougher. Injuries ravaged that team early, and I know like Stoudemire, because, I was writing for him last year. I followed this team very closely. Stoudemire was an absolute monster within 5 to 7 feet of the hoop. He was like 81% from the field in that range.
Yeah.
They need to get him back to that. He can't be taking these jump shots.
Well, he's got to get healthy.
Like remember the one year where the MVP chants were coming in November and he was
before
drilling
Melo got
shots
there.
and all that.
But it's tough, as Nipsey was saying, interchangeable parts. But for Carmelo excels when he's playing the 4.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, and that's where he is tonight.
And you have Stoudemire. He really can't play a 5. You have both of them,
and you can't have both of them
tough.
on defense.
That's brutal. So
and that's
how are they fitting together? I think if Stoudemire could accept the role, and he seemed like he kind of did it as a second unit, the main offensive force.
No, he did.
I'll tell you what, though, my view on the Knicks, I think for the Knicks to be, in that upper echelon, I think Iman Shumpert needs to take the leap.
Yeah, I think he's the big X factor.
I think that's
we kind of saw that last
absolutely.
year, coming off the knee injury when he first started playing last year. He was dreadful.
Right.
But the first 15
it took
games
him a while.
down the stretch, he was one of the next best players.
In that Indiana series, I thought he showed a lot.
Yeah.
And I think if he can, I was going to make the same exact point that if he can make a jump to that next level and give him 15 points a night and play that same solid defense. Well, I think the Knicks can really hang with Indiana, the Bulls, the Heat.
Shumpert to be there on the defensive end. How good is he going to be offensively? I think that's a question because where are you going offensively outside of Melo?
Yeah,
where's that team getting?
Their starting fives tonight. I think they went Felton and Pedroni with Shumpert, Anthony, and Chandler. So you got Anthony, but who's that second guy?
I thought they started Meta. No, let's check it out.
I thought I heard they went with Pedroni.
Well, either way, whatever. I mean, those lineups are going to change.
Even
where's that second score? Obviously, J.R. Smith's going to come back, and he was it last year, and he played tremendous up until that Jason Terry elbow. He was tremendous. He's tremendous.
You know your team.
So where's that second scorer? I think just because of the lineup situation, because you're going to need Shumpert on defense.
Yes, exactly.
He's got to play big minutes, and he needs to be able to score the basketball on offense
Wow.
in order to keep them in the upper echelon.
Shumpert, the leading shooter tonight, already taking 11 shots, a team high here tonight. 4 of 11.
Well,
12
hopefully,
points.
and maybe hopefully the Knicks know that. Hopefully they're they're trying to get him accustomed to maybe being more of a creator. I mean, not seeing any of the game at all.
Yeah.
But I mean, they got guys out there like Bargnani can, I think, replace a lot of what Novak.
I
what they
love
lost to Novak.
Bargnani. I love Bargnani.
I mean, he can't rebound like Brook Lopez for if it's fucking like.
I'm so upset
like,
that
depended on
I'm
it.
so upset that he went to the next Bargnani.
But another guy, an offensive player can't play a lick of defense,
Yeah.
right? So you're going to have.
Yeah, I mean, you really.
Where's your lineup? Woodson's going to earn his money this year in manipulating those lineups,
And that's what I think is going to be interesting, especially for over the first 20 games of the year, figuring out what lineups work well or don't work well. Because you could go really defensive with a Shumpert, Meta World Peace,
Right, and
Anthony,
Chandler.
and Chandler.
Yeah.
Or you could go really offensive if you want to put Anthony at the 3, throw Bargnani out there or Stoudemire out there with Chandler. But still, I mean, you're making holes in either your offensive or defensive. You're either not be able to score points or not. You're going to be giving up points.
Right.
So it's going to be interesting getting that balance of the lineups to see what works best for each unit.
Absolutely. And I think, like you said, with the Nets, their kind of lineup is set, right? Whereas
Yeah,
the Knicks,
I mean-
it's
Yeah.
completely in flux, and it'll be interesting to see.
Let me ask you a question. As a Knicks fan, is this the year that we see Tyson Chandler get dealt away from the team?
They wish.
I don't think so. I mean, not with that contract. And, I mean, especially him being the anchor of that defense, I don't see how they could get rid of him and improve their defense, improve their team at all.
Tell you what, you get rid of him, you get maybe a point guard, new shooting guard in
the
there.
name that's on the table and people are throwing out there, and I don't know how true this is all. Obviously, it's all
Don't tell me
NBA
Rondo.
Rondo.
They're not trading him to the Knicks.
I mean, it would make sense.
Well, if they're trading if they're getting
if
Rondo,
they gave up like
Shumpert's gone.
Shumpert and like a Hardaway and maybe like a first round pick or something like that.
You
And
think-
I mean, if the Knicks
I
could
love
get that deal,
Rondo.
I would take it.
Where does Hardaway fit in? That's another,
gonna-
that's
Hey,
another
guy.
question.
It'd be like another JR spark plug, but obviously not
So-
taking
just
80
so
shots a
like
game.
another
you know?
wing guy. I mean, almost like if the Knicks could run with JR's point, I think, and then throw like JR
Not,
Smith.
not
I
for
mean,
long,
Oh,
not for
no.
long stretches.
I mean,
Not for long
he-
stretches.
And here's JR up the court. He
did
shoots
that
it
a
from
lot
half
at the
court.
end of last year, and he's a good creator off the pick and roll when he goes to the basket. When he settles for those bad 18-footers is when he got himself in trouble.
Yeah, those
And he-
pullback 18-footers.
It seems like he did that a lot more in the playoffs, where at the end of the regular season he was taking that ball to the hole and putting it down. But yeah, I mean, like I said, they got a lot of pieces that are kind of like could work. I could see like the different lineups working, but still in question of how they make it work.
Got an update.
Was that Steven Drew?
Dun-
Just hit a home run, 4-0.
Dun-dun-dun-dun.
Oh.
4-0 Boston.
Dun-dun-dun-dun.
What-
Oh, we're
what
going to be
inning you got?
celebrating in Beantown.
Wow,
You got the champagne
crazy.
ready to go?
Crazy. Hey, listen, you remember another Game 6 in Boston? 86?
That wasn't in Boston.
That was in
Huh?
that was in New York.
Yeah, it was in New York. Well, for
Flushing?
Boston,
Flushing?
I'm not on my game. I'm watching this game.
I know. I'll
It's
watch
throwing me
this
all off.
one. We're all over the place.
But for the
Mitch,
most
you
part-
got anything to watch?
I'm looking at the Skype ratings. But I mean, for the most part, we're basically the same down the East.
Right.
I mean, Cleveland, Chicago, New York, Detroit, Washington. I got Milwaukee in there.
Oh, you got no Cleveland. And this is before the predictor, man. I tell you right now, Kyrie Irving, you got Tristan Thompson in there. Just
Michael Bennett, the youth.
Yeah.
UNLV.
Oh, yeah.
Anthony Bennett. That's the guy from the Seahawks.
Yeah.
Step on
That's
your
all
toes.
right. Hey,
son.
hey. But no, they're another team that has a lot of depth. And if Andrew Bynum can actually
Well,
get
that's-
on the court this
That's my
year,
other thing with that team is
that's
that
going to be scary.
can Kyrie Irving stay healthy? Can Andrew Bynum even play a lick? Because I mean, you want to knock Greg Oden. I mean, Bynum's just as bad.
Oh, he's the worst. But I know. But
so that's my
again,
only knock
we're
with those teams.
well. I'm not. I don't give a shit. But they're preying on a star that he could at least see some kind of minutes because he didn't do shit last year.
What about the West? What do you guys think there? You think San Antonio or I mean, me and you still got OKC as
Right.
the number one, but
OKC.
I got
what
the
do we
Clippers
got?
a little further down.
Oh, but you know what you did? You saw them last night, and
Yeah.
you threw them down a little. No.
Well, yeah.
Nah,
I mean
nah.
that defense looked
Hey,
terrible.
listen, the Heat lost their opener They lost their opener by 20 points last year, so
The opening game
that could
doesn't
be whatever.
Well, that was a little different.
But-
I mean, that was in New York right after Sandy hit, and Wade even spoke out about that, about how it was a little weird playing. He felt
gave
uncomfortable about it, but
He's a douche.
I'll take a W when it's
He's a douche.
I couldn't watch it.
Nah, I think OKC, Russell Westbrook. Here's another thing. Westbrook was supposed to be out the first 4 to 6 weeks of the season. He's going to come back after 2. could be a little hindrance on that. He might be rushing it back a little. But I think Durant, he's going to be hungry this year. They got embarrassed, getting knocked out of the playoffs last year. He's going to want it a lot more this year. I think Durant, he could probably win MVP this year. He's the best scorer in the league.
Especially over the first couple of months without Westbrook. He could probably drop about 35 points.
He's the best pure scorer. No doubt about it. No doubt about it.
Interesting Westbrook tidbit was that OKC was picking between him and Brook Lopez in that spot in the draft.
Well, he went 3 or 4, didn't he?
I want to say 3, but I could be off. But it was between those two, and then Lopez actually wound up dropping to like 11.
11.
To
He went 11. Yeah.
Holy Toledo.
What do you think out in the West? A lot of people high on the Rockets. Rockets and Golden State.
Yeah.
Those are the two trendy, up and coming teams. What do you think of those?
What's interesting is that Lynn. I don't think he's going to be
the
starter.
No,
yeah.
Beverly got the start.
Yeah. So,
Insanity, where have you gone?
bad, horrible contract that Houston.
I was
gave
at
him,
that
by the
Nets
way.
game when Linsanity started the night before the Super
Really?
Bowl. I'll put that on my resume.
Bastard.
When they were playing Jeremy over the loudspeakers.
I tell you what, I think Howard's another MVP candidate this year. I think he's going to be quite rejuvenated, and the West is extremely weak. It's extremely weak, and he could definitely dominate.
Well,
and now that he's happy and he doesn't have to deal with Kobe, him and the Beard, they could do some damage down there in H-Town.
And I mean, Harden off the pick and rolls, I think he was one of the most efficient scorers in those situations.
Harden's another guy that can win MVP too.
I'll tell you what, looking back, how bad was that OKC
LeBron
deal?
is the MVP.
I know,
I know. Put it down,
but here's
How
the
about OKC though? Giving up Harden for
that
what?
was a bad move.
Wow,
that had to be money. That had to be
but
money.
they could have played last year with him.
They could have
They traded him a year earlier. Kevin Martin, who's gone now, that was a terrible move by OKC.
God.
Yeah, I mean, unless Jeremy Lamb pans out, then they just drafted. One of the draft picks was the guy that drafted in the first round this year. I think the Australian guy from Pitt.
The big kid.
He's a big guy.
Yeah.
Knight,
Who had no
or something
skills
like that.
offensively.
I think
None.
Houston will be in like the top 3. I think San Antonio is still going to stay up there. I mean, you can't. I'm going to bet on them until they prove me wrong.
Over under on alley-oops this season, 1.5.
Kawhi Leonard could jump. That's about it. No one else on the team could jump.
Kawhi Leonard. I think he's going to step up his game a lot. I think he'll make up for a lot of what they lost in another year older, another year, moving along and losing minutes. But
I'm going to make a bold prediction. Tony Parker down year this season. I think he took way too much abuse, and then he, just during the finals and the playoffs in general. But the finals, definitely.
He was banged up, though, during the
finals. And
finals,
then he was
too.
playing
The
like
European
Euro
Championship.
ball. Yeah, he's doing all that.
Him and Borussia.
This guy's going to be
won France.
fatigued. This
Yeah.
is going to be quite fatigued.
Never
over
mind
there, so.
all the women he's going through.
But yeah, I mean, I think it was interesting with what Dave said. I think Dave, right? About the draft this year. So I think there's going to be a lot of strong teams at the top and a lot of really weak teams at the bottom.
You already got Philly, who they set the over under in Vegas like
At
one of
16.
the lowest
God.
in over a decade.
Philly. You got Utah,
The Magic and Phoenix also.
Yeah, and then also
Orlando looked kind of good again. I know opening night they look pretty decent.
I know we saw the Lakers last night win, but I can't. What's the point of them going?
I don't have them in the
500
playoffs.
and
I don't have them in the playoffs.
being an 8 seed or a 9 seed or out of the playoffs. I mean, isn't it their best bet to tank and wait? Keep Kobe out.
Not when they're charging that for tickets.
You
man.
know,
That's
you
tough.
know what
That's
sucks?
tough.
You got to get rid of Kobe. You gotta.
Nah,
Not happening.
It's not gonna happen.
You have to because you're gonna give him that much money. And
They
you're
should have
trying to
amnestied
rebuild.
him then.
Here's another thing. Did you see the report that came out the other day about an anonymous GM came out and he said
One team's
we
already
are
tanking.
definitely the guy. I guess he wrote the Bleacher Report.
Yeah.
He said we are tanking this season.
Philly?
Yeah. No, it was just an anonymous.
He didn't say in
GM.
those many words, but he said losing is our best option right now.
It absolutely is. This
Yeah.
NBA draft coming up, and I'm looking at ESPN the magazines.
Wiggins.
on the cover.
Wiggins.
Wiggins for Wiggins.
But it's a deep draft. There's Marcus Smart, Oklahoma State, who
Yep.
would have been the top 3 pick this year. The kid Jabari Parker from Duke is there.
Yep.
A couple other guys in a mix.
They're saying this is the best draft since the LeBron draft.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
and
yeah.
I mean, you saw 4 out of the top 5 guys did it.
Darko, where's my Darko?
Imagine if Detroit took Carmelo at that point. Yeah,
I know. What were
That
they
team would be-
thinking?
That-
What were they thinking?
That's one of those what if. Man.
They're like,
yeah.
no, we
How-
got Tyshawn Prince. We're good.
that's
I
up
mean,
there
we're
with Jordan
good.
over Bowie. I mean, all that stuff.
Yeah,
I mean,
Durant, Odin over Durant.
Nets just tie the game with a minute to
Portland got terrible.
go.
draft
Real,
history.
real quick, NBA Finals picks before we go to break.
You want to go first?
No, go ahead.
I'll go Miami versus. I'll take Houston. Go a little off board.
Okay.
Have a little James Harden there.
What do you got, Walsh?
I'm gonna go Miami OKC.
Yeah, that's the layup, right?
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna lay it up too then.
We got no balls.
You know what?
in
I'll be
those
honest with you. I haven't gotten into basketball yet. I
love basketball.
I've been on this baseball playoff so hard. Even during the segment,
That's
man.
what she said.
Yeah. I've been on the baseball and a couple of local
baseball bat.
local bar winches. Both of them very hard.
Oh baby.
Tinder
but
account.
I gotta.
Oh,
I gotta postpone until next week. Well, next week we hope a couple basketball guests. And
All right.
I gotta postpone.
We're
my
gonna do college ball next week.
Yeah, college I'm
Count
into.
that.
College I'm gonna get into.
All right. All right, let us get into a video break, and then after that, it is time for everybody's favorite segment, the NFL
Cole's new.
Pick'em.
Oh no!
What are you retarded? There's nobody in
She's
the
not
crowd
even
today.
here.
Is Tits McGee coming in for Coles?
It's McGee. There's
who's
nobody
that?
in the crowd tonight.
15 minutes of fame. Let's go.